Due to possible harmful extremist content, parental discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of the station, its affiliates, or advertisers. The use of the show is only allowed with the express written permission of the producer and the host. So get ready for 2 hours of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show starting right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for February 18th, 2026. And with me tonight, of course, I've got Bullhorn Barry on the mic. What's going on, Barry?
Hey, what's going on with you, man? How's the wife, the family, the kids, the dog, you know, all that stuff?
Well, the dog's good.
Everything else?
Yeah, you know, everything else we'll have to... We only have 2 hours, man. We only have 2 hours, so let's dive right into it. I don't know. I guess I'll start off with this one just because it'll be quick. But a big tragedy occurred in Lake Tahoe. 8 backcountry skiers are now confirmed dead in the deadliest U.S. avalanche in the last 45 years, which is pretty wild. And I mean, it sounds like they were coming off the mountain. They were in some sort of like a canyon, like probably just a dirt road in the summer, and they were skinning their way out, and this thing went off way above them and just, you know, buried a bunch of them. I was wondering how that could have happened. You know, when you have that large of a group, I think they had 4 guides with them. Typically, your guides are never going to put everybody in the same spot where they're at risk of dying at any one time. You know what I mean? If there's a dangerous zone, you go through it one at a time. That way, if anything happens, you got 11 people that are fine and 1 person that's screwed that we have to go rescue. You don't put all 10 of them across the same slide zone at the same time. So it's interesting. I'd like to learn more about this, but worst tragedy in backcountry skiing in the last 45 years, avalanche, death of 8 people. I think there were a total of about 12 or so involved in total. And they were just wrapping up a 3-day trip. So, I don't know, get that one out of the way. Always a tragedy. Hate to brush over it, but I do want to cover it, at least briefly, so we're all aware of that. I don't know, Barry, anything to add to that?
Nature can be brutal sometimes.
Yeah. And it's been snowing a lot in Lake Tahoe this year. Apparently, a lot of Colorado hasn't had a whole lot of snow. I think they just opened the back bowls at Vail like a week ago, which is pretty late, you know, to wait until February to open the back bowls. That's, you know, there should be, people want to go there for Christmas, right? Mm-hmm. So it's been getting dumped on in Lake Tahoe, and that's just part of the beast there, man. That mountain, it's a wetter, heavier snow. And so when it slides, it's much more deadly than the very, very light powdery stuff, which is also dangerous. But, you know, there's a difference to it. You see an avalanche in that kind of snow, and it's more about this stuff rocketing down the mountain, whereas in Utah or Colorado, it's more of a billowy, you know, you don't see the avalanche. You just see all this snow floating up off the mountain for some strange reason. And you realize, oh, that's an avalanche. I don't know. It is what it is. Tragedy, but there we go. You know, our due respects to them. I've spent a lot of time in the backcountry of Lake Tahoe, so I know it well. And it's always, you know, horrible tragedy to hear something like this happen. I've been in some pretty gnarly places myself, and I've, you know, always look back thankfully that I survived all that. Because it could have gone wrong a million different ways in a million different places.
And we still see a lot of people dying at a very young age due to cancer. A lot of people in the entertainment industry. James DeBerk, or whatever his name was, lost a battle with cancer. A lot of people that maybe you haven't heard of, directors, producers, dying in their 30s, 40s, 50s from cancer, heart attacks, and strokes. And it just makes you wonder if there's some kind of connection to that COVID death jab, as I like to call it.
Yeah, in Hollywood, you know, it's got a lot of notoriety for drugs and whatnot, but it also has, it's California culture, a lot of notoriety for eating healthy, working out, keeping your body healthy, you know, peak physical condition so you can be in the movie if you're ever called to be in the movie. So, you know, it's sad to see that type of thing, you know, happen. And do we just go right to, were they all overdosing or something? Or, do they actually live healthy lives and they just got caught up in something else? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right?
Sure.
That Pope shall not be named.
Yeah, it's just tragic. There's just a lot of that. Still a lot of just death that we didn't see before, and how people want to understand that, or the framework they want to put that in. I mean, that's up to everybody, however they want to do that. Personally, I'm not framing it as the death jab. I'm just saying it's potentially the death jab. That's my opinion. I'm just throwing it out there.
Potentially, yep. The Pope that shall not be named. But it's a tragedy to see one way or the other. I mean, it really is. And I don't know. I hope they just keep their promises, as we covered in, sometime in the last week. I remember there was a story out about how, they come out and they said, look, we're no longer doing any of these gain-of-function research, period. It's all getting rooted from any federal funding, all of it gone. Nothing even tangentially related to gain-of-function will be, have the government funding anymore whatsoever. All the dog stuff, the beagles and the sandflies and all that stuff gone. Thank God. It's about time. But anyway, we had another tragedy, and then I'll move on to some comedy. Jesse Jackson passed away the other day, 84 years old, civil rights activist his whole life, was friends and friendly with Donald Trump for most of Donald's non-political life. He's, I'm sure, donated quite a lot of money to Rainbow Coalition and Jesse Jackson's other movements. They even received the Ellis Island Freedom Award together with Rosa Parks. So Jesse Jackson, Rosa Parks, Donald Trump all received the same award from the Ellis Island Freedom, Award from Ellis Island. At the same time, photos of it out there everywhere, folks, right? Out there everywhere. They say Donald Trump is the biggest racist the world's ever known. Well, I can go 40 years back in his timeline and find him winning awards next to Rosa Parks and Jesse Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you dig that far back into Joe Biden and you're going to find a lot of N-words and sketchy, comments about, other people.
And you'll never see Donald Trump wearing a blackface because it never happened.
Yeah, if he did, it would be everywhere, folks. We'd all know about it, I mean,
many on the left have worn the blackface, right? From Howard Stern to so many others.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe Saturday Night Live in his peak, they could have convinced him to do something with Eddie Murphy. That's about as close as you're going to get, though. Which is, Sarah Silverman. How many comedians have done that in the past? Anyway. That's the tragedy. Here's the comedy part. They had a press briefing today, and Donald Trump put out a statement. Then part of the statement said that, people who have accused me falsely of being a racist. I'm not sure there's many people in this room. No, that's not. I'm sorry, that's someone else's. He came out and basically said, I've been falsely accused of being a racist, many, many, many times by lots and lots of people. And so someone came out and said, what's he talking about here? Let's listen to Carolyn Levitt. Courtesy of the White House.
Statement about Jesse Jackson, the president said, despite the fact that I'm falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, Democrats all, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
You're kidding, right?
No.
I will pull you plethora of examples. I'm going to get my team in that room to start going through the internet of radical Democrats throughout the years, Ed, who have accused this president falsely of being a racist. And I'm sure there's many people in this room and on network television across the country who have accused him of the same. In fact, I know that because I've seen it with my own eyes. And the president very much looks forward to having a event later this afternoon at 3 p.m. to celebrate Black History Month and to talk about how his policies are advancing opportunity and prosperity.
Yeah. The room just erupted in laughter there, right?
Right.
I love it.
And anytime you call the president Nazi, well, they can't deny that. I mean, that's saying he's a racist. Every Nazi is a racist. That's part of being a Nazi. So when you call Donald Trump a Nazi, you are equivocally saying he is a racist too. So don't even start.
Oh, yeah. the fascist, all that stuff. It all falls into it. You know, any name they call him, it all boils back to racism, dude. Racism. Here's Don Lemon for you. Just if you guys just want a couple examples of people calling Trump racist.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. The President of the United States is racist. A lot of us already knew that.
Okay. I mean, that's how he opens his show on CNN.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
During the debate against Joe Biden, he said Donald Trump is the most racist president in modern history. You know, I could go on. We know Donald Trump is a racist, but we don't get a badge of courage for calling him that. We need to focus on ending the systemic ways racism infects our society and laws every day. That's Joe Biden. The AOC, she's on the stage lately. Let's hear what she had to say.
Donald Trump is also very old and a racist and a neo-Nazi.
Racist and a neo-Nazi.
And let's not forget white supremacists. So when you say all of MAGA are white supremacists, that means you're a racist too. So this is like their major talking point, and it's all they have because they can't talk about what they actually stand for because everything they stand for is awful. It's all about taking away from you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got this voter ID, the SAVE Act. Passed the House, now it's in the Senate, and they're screaming bloody murder. It's the most racist thing in the world, yet it's got 85% support in the country. 85% support, 77% from the left.
Yep.
And that's racism to them. Chuck Schumer screaming bloody murder about it.
So 77% of their base is racist then.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say that the left is racist, all I have to do is refer, well, that's what Chucky Schumer said. He said 77% are racist.
Well, that's the poll. Just point to that poll, you know.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's an 80-20 issue that, once again, the left finds themselves on the wrong side of. And it's their running theme for the last few years to just pick up the opposite side of every 80-20 issue and scream racism into the bloody wind for as long as loud as they can, until they lose and cave, and then they move on to the next 80-20 issue that nobody wants and scream and, you know, pound sand for that. It's ridiculous. When are they going to wake up?
Never. Thankfully, I mean, it works in our favor. The more crazy they are, the better. I mean, if they were smart, they would at least pose to be sort of moderate, a little bit more moderate, you know, and sensible on issues and things. That at least, you know, try and fool your base, try to fool the people so that maybe you can get some votes. But no, they just come straight out with their satanic agenda and say, hey, this is who we are, a bunch of lawless, crazy people.
Uh-huh. And keep in mind, we're going to have a State of the Union next week. If I'm not mistaken, it'll be Thursday night next week. And obviously, you must watch television. 5 years ago, he had on Rush Limbaugh, and it's now the 5th anniversary of Rush's passing was today. And so, you know, obviously hats off to Rush Limbaugh. What a legend. But that was the night that Nancy Pelosi ripped up his address. You know, one of the officials came over, handed her here's the official copy of the State of the Union. You're the Speaker of the House, or you're the Majority Leader. You take this. And she just tore it in half right there on the stage.
Yeah.
Disgusting display.
Well, that's how they react when they're losing.
So keep an eye out, folks. Keep an eye out for next Thursday night. It should be very interesting to see what goes down, what kind of, you know, shenanigans they're going to be up to. Will he bring out some 6-year-old cancer survivor and they boo the little kid?
Probably.
You know?
It doesn't matter what it is.
Right there,
celebrate it. If it's even remotely connected to Trump, they can't celebrate it. It doesn't matter how good it is, how bad it is, or how middle of the road it is. If it's Trump, we cannot celebrate it, which just shows you how ludicrous they are.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the minute he's out of office and they take power back, they'll undo everything. They'll open the border right back up. They'll like everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Worse than under Biden for sure, because they learned the lesson that, you know, we didn't go far enough under Biden, and that's why we lost.
Yeah.
If we went far enough, we could have been more authoritarian. We could have stolen the election and not allowed Trump to be president. So yeah, the next time they get the chance, they're going to be, I would say, infinitely more authoritarian this time around.
Well, they have to. I mean, the border, man, they've just got to go take like container ships down to Africa and just fill them up with people. Bring them like in mass. Bring them up as hardcore as you can. You know what I mean? No more imports of any material goods. It's all people.
And then censorship will just be like full blown. They'll have the whole Ministry of Truth out, and anybody that's, you know, conservative or Republican or Christian, all those views will just have to be basically censored, and those people will have to be canceled and destroyed. I mean, that they'll go all the way in, and they went pretty far under Biden, but they know they made the mistake by not going far enough. And the globalists know they didn't go far enough, right? Because they should have kept us in lockdown forever like they wanted to, but they didn't. But that was because we pushed back. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God for pushing back, man. It's I was thinking back while you're talking there, and like images jumped into my head about these like caravans that were going through Europe and going through Central America, just 100-mile long caravans of people, and they're just trampling everything. They're just going. It's just a mass of people that never seem to end, you know. On any given day, you could go out there and see a 5-mile long string of people moving, their way further and further and further into wherever, be it America or into Western Europe. These caravans were mostly in Eastern Europe trying to get to, France, England, Germany, places that can give them money. You're not going to drop down in Romania and be like, all right, pay me, put me in a 4-star hotel. They'll laugh at you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's one of those things that Trump said, it's an invasion. And then the left, like people like Jon Stewart and every politician, they were all like mocking it, saying, Trump says it's an invasion. Well, yeah, because he had the foresight to see what was coming, because he looked at what was going on in Europe and elsewhere. And they were just starting to flood into our nation as well, unchecked, unfettered, in a lawless fashion. So again, Trump was right again, kind of like Alex Jones was right again.
Yep. Put another nickel in the jar. We're moving to Hawaii.
I'm ready for it, man. Or maybe Iceland. Just somewhere.
Yeah, Iceland.
Or maybe Canada when they become part of the United States.
Oh, I think there's there's parts of Canada that would be happy to, but like Quebec would never, ever in a million years. They would insist on being their own country.
Yeah, I'm just being facetious, man. I'm just being facetious. Yeah.
Quebec would have a hard time if Canada fell apart. Quebec would be in big trouble.
Yeah.
And, it's a shame. They've got a lot of, Montreal's a beautiful city. I've never been to Quebec City, but I hear it's even more enchanting. And, I would love, wintertime, I'd love to go up there and take a vacation up in that area, the French-speaking part of Canada. There's some really cool little ski resorts and stuff up there that are, linked far enough apart that they make for a really good sort of consecutive, like day-by-day trips you can take through there that sound incredible, But that's a story for another day, I guess. While we're talking about Canada, there was just a 16-year-old kid who was going through seasonal depression. And, I'm sorry, I said 16, 26-year-old. Okay. He was in an accident a while back. He was partially blind. And he went through seasonal, in the wintertime, depressions. And he went behind his family's back, went to a doctor. The doctor said, yeah, let's go. After 6 other doctors said, no, you probably shouldn't do this. And he got that good old assistance in death, the medical assistance in death made. He got made up there in Canada. Tragic story. His family's furious.
Dehumanization, man. And to call it anything less is dehumanizing even more. This is all part of the globalist dehumanization agenda, disconnecting us from each other, disconnecting our humanity, disconnecting the idea that we were created in God's likeness and we have worth and value and that we're supposed to take care of each other. We're supposed to help out the weak and vulnerable, not just kill them and send them off into the oblivion. That is not how humanity works.
It sure isn't. But, there's people out there in this new world order that want it to work that way, that want it to be more controlled. Or, hey, you're not benefiting society. Are you sure you really want to be here? You're really young, and gosh, you're probably just going to cost the economy money through your whole life. Is that what you want for society?
It's a death cult, man. I think they're fascinated with death. You know, I really think the people that are pushing this, the ones that are pushing it, you know, in situations that it should never be pushed. I would argue it shouldn't be pushed at all. But I do understand there's a debate for people that are suffering immeasurably and they're on death's door and they're going to die in a matter of a few days anyway. I understand that. I still don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Get that debate. I understand that debate. But there's no debate killing some healthy 26-year-old because he has a little bit of depression. That's insane, man. That is evil. And I've told people over and over again who, you know, they claim to be libertarians. They go, well, free will, free choice. And I'm like, you don't understand, man. This has nothing to do with helping people go out on their own terms when they're dying. This is going to be used against everybody because it's part of the grander dehumanization agenda and the depopulation agenda that all the globalists talk about because there's just too many of us. So whatever it takes to get the highway less, they're all for it.
And I'll tell you, it's a great way to clean up the homeless problem. You know, hey, they're all crazy. They're all depressed. They're all, you know, you go in because you stubbed your toe. You're living on the street, you broke your toe or something. You go in, hey, can I, you know, get some painkillers, maybe get this looked at? And poof, you know, you're dead. Someone comes and asks about you. If someone comes and asks about you and they say, yeah, you know, he was depressed. He had a talk with the doctor. And, you know, it's a way to make people go away is what I'm getting at. And there's also a bit of a power trip if you're a little bit of a psychotic that you can legally help someone die. You can point them towards death and then give them the medication and make it happen and actually legally kill somebody.
Yeah.
There's also that sick aspect to it that I don't put past some of these people.
Yeah. And Nick Shirley, he's, you know, gone to all these places where, you know, the drug addicts are just, you know, down entire streets and the government and the local authorities in these leftist hellscapes don't care about those people at all. That's why they actually don't do anything to help them. They just, in many cases, they supply them with the crack pipes like they did in New York City. Remember, they had vending machines to get your free crack pipe. I mean, these people are insane. They're literally helping them to kill themselves because the kind of drugs that they're doing are not the kind of drugs that you can just do and be okay. They take your life in a year or two at most.
Yeah. And Nick Shirley just put out a video today about San Francisco, and he's talking to people there, and they're like, yeah, you know, they give you the needles, they give you all this stuff, but they never, ever have any way of even offering you any help to get off the drugs, you know? And he's like, that's how they keep making money year after year. If they healed these people, they wouldn't need to give out these needles. And I guarantee the markup on those little needles is massive, right? They're charging the NGOs and everything back. I don't know, $10 a needle. They cost a nickel, you know, something along those kind of profit margin lines. So
it's infuriating.
Yeah, it's an epidemic. Absolutely. And, you know, everyone's just riding the system to make money off it instead of actually trying to fix it.
As the video that I saw, maybe the same thing. He was with another guy who's kind of an expert that goes out there to actually help them because the government won't do anything to help them. And he's like, yeah, you can tell if they're dead or if they're just passed out. And here's what I do. And if they're just passed out, I give them this, and this will get them awake again. And is that the same video that you saw?
No, this is one he just put out today.
Oh, okay. Well, they have, you know, a drug.
Well, I did see that one though.
If you're passed out,
I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they can give you this. I forget what it is, some kind of a shot or something to sniff or something to take. I don't know, but essentially, it breaks them out of their, you know, sleep. So because you could die in your sleep as well. So the only people helping the homeless people in these leftist hellscapes are just concerned conservatives most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Presler led all those massive, you know, cleanup crews through all the different Democratic cities, right? And then he went out and signed up everyone to vote. And people credit him for flipping Pennsylvania. And I don't doubt it. You know, he's doing work all over the country and registering more people than anyone else out there. I hope the Republican Party is paying that guy through the nose, because the Democrats are paying a lot of money to canvass and go out and have all these groups go out and do this stuff. Yeah. And he just seems to be getting like a thankless job. He goes out and does it, and everyone says, wow, you're great and everything, but are they really taking care of the man? Because he deserves it. So on that note, though, folks, we got to take a break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on a radio break.
Good deal.
All right.
Yeah. Great Conspiracy and Roger are restreaming too. Thanks, guys.
And it has been windy out here the last few days.
Yeah?
Yeah, like 40, 45 mile an hour sustained, like windy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of breezy.
Actually kicking up dust storms. It kicked up some pretty good dust storms, which I'd never really seen before. That was kind of interesting. Because this area is not as prone to them as some other ones are. So, I mean, I could see like 50 yards, but that's it, you know?
It's that bad with dust? Wow.
Yeah, the other day.
I bet people were having a
Now
lot
I
of
think all
problems
the
with
plus-
allergies then, too.
Yeah, probably.
Dust and pollen and all that other good stuff that was kicked up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oops.
Oh, boy.
It's awful quiet in here, man. Awful
Yeah, it's
quiet.
pretty quiet now. I mean, you were all, like, really fired up pre-show.
I'm subduing it, you know, not letting it own me.
Okay, you know.
It's always there. It's always down deep, man, and it's in all of us. We just got to put it out. That passion, man. It's all about the passion at the end of the day. You either got it or you don't.
I love it, man. Bring it anytime you can. Just, you know, be aware of the clock a little. That's all. Don't wait on the last day.
Don't do it right before the break. Right?
What did we have? I had somebody do something on Sunday night that just brought up like this huge bombshell with like 10 seconds to go. Oh no, that was you last week with the
beef jerky.
The beef jerky.
Yeah, beef jerky. Mm-hmm. Delicious beef jerky.
Mhm.
That's what they say. I'll tell you what. Oh man. Yeah, it's not going away now. It doesn't matter what. Even if Trump and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and all these people, they were like, we're not going to allow this all to come out because it could bring down the whole system. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. It's too big. It's bigger than they are, man. And no one's going to be satisfied until we get it all released. It's that simple. The pressure is on. Let's just put it that way.
Uh-huh.
And again, you know, I said it was coming. I didn't know it was going to come that soon. I didn't know the second drop would be the next week. But, you know, it's clear that there's a lot of posing going on with the Trump administration. And I'm not
30
saying
seconds, fellas.
I trust Pam Bondi or Kash Patel. But let's wait to see what happens before we give our full judgment on them.
Do you want to talk about that on air? Because I don't think I have any Epstein articles. But if you want to bring
Yeah, I can bring and play that clip that we predicted that another drop.
Okay, here you go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're live and back on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Censorship Sucks Round Table Radio Show Wednesday night edition February 18th, 2026. Welcome to the future, folks. I've got with me Bullhorn Barry, and we were talking during the break about the Epstein files.
In our direction. I mean, Trump's the
Always
one
a
that
hot-
released the Epstein.
Yeah, always a hot topic. Barry, take it. You had some things you wanted to say, so I'll give you the mic. Go ahead.
I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead and introduce what you were saying. That was purely accidental. I apologize for that, man.
You just couldn't help it. You had to jump in there.
Well, I wanted to make sure the Bluetooth was connected. That's all.
Okay. Your Bluetooth is successfully connected.
Yes.
So, I will just say that we were talking about it during the break, and you were getting that passion in your voice, and we always love it when you get passionate. So I just thought I'd throw you the mic. I think you have a clip you want to play from last week.
Yeah, I mean, last week we talked about the Epstein stuff, and there's a lot of doubt on the side of the right. That it was ever going to be delivered, man. That Trump wasn't going to deliver, and he's covering up and all that kind of stuff. And, of course, he did release it, and he did sign off on it. And then I said, that's not the end of it. There's another drop coming. Mark my words. And here's that clip from last week where we talked about another drop was coming, and indeed it already has. Headed in our direction. I mean, Trump's the one that released the Epstein files. Say whatever you want, that he was the one holding it back and blah, blah, blah. He's the one that signed off on it. And I said from day one, it's coming out. The stuff has not disappeared. It's coming out. Just wait and see. And it wasn't but a couple of months after I said that on the radio that it did come out. By the way, mark my words now, this is the first drop. There's another drop coming. There's over, I don't know how many million more pages that have yet to be dropped. They dropped the lighter version first to get everybody shocked and appalled, and then the last one will take everybody over the edge. Because, look, the Epstein drop has changed the paradigm as far as, how they approach their worldview now. It's totally different now. People are fed up. The gloves are off, politically speaking now. There's turning points that happen in this pivot towards our victory. Looks like things are. There you go.
Mm-hmm. You're right on it, man. You're right on it. That's a perfect YouTube short, And it seems like Bill Clinton is at the receiving end of a lot of the bad stuff here. And there's a few other billionaires. There's that guy that just he's the governor, cousin to the governor of Illinois. Pritzker is his last name, and what was it, like one of the big studios he just retired from because of the Epstein stuff. And then I just was reading about some billionaire that also was targeted in this thing, and egg on his face. I mean, he's a billionaire, so how bad can it be for him, right? It's not, it doesn't have to lose his job or anything. He's a billionaire. That's his job. But and repercussions in the UK are huge. So yeah, this is coming down. And I want to see Pam Bondi now be like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we redacted, but guess what? It's not redacted when you're the prosecutor's office. We know all the secrets. We know who's who, and we're going after them. I want to see that happen sooner than later.
And wasn't it, I think it's Casey Westerman. I don't know. Isn't he under investigation by the DOJ because of the drops? I mean, let's put it this way. I know for a fact that in other countries, there are people that are being punished for having been found in the Epstein files, and there's some investigations ongoing, even in the United States as well, because of it. So for all these black-pilled right-wing, anti-Trumpers, give it some time. Just because we haven't got all the arrests that you think we should have by now, this is going to be a process, and you have to understand that Trump is trying to win the public opinion, the court of public opinion, right? So he's not just going to just drastically come in and start doing stuff and shock everybody. He's got to kind of lay things out, let people digest the information, and let it become kind of, a part of everybody's psyche, so that when he does take action, it's understandable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I hope it's getting there. I understand it. I know what's going on. We can explain it on the show. There's a million other conservatives out there that do what we do and explain these things. So yeah, move ahead with prosecutions. I can't wait to see it. And there's some big names that could go drop fast and all this stuff. And I'd like to see it. I really would. But
did you know on X today what was trending? One of the number one trend this morning was hashtag Trump Epstein files. And it was all Democrats saying that Trump's a pedophile. And yet there's nothing in the drops that suggest anything even remotely close to that. And yet it is a lot of people on the left that have done some questionable things, and need some investigating, like Bill Clinton. Okay. He's definitely went on that Lolita Express. And it does appear like he probably was at the island. There's some sketchy photos with him and some girls in a pool. I mean, he's the one that should be being looked at. There's absolutely nothing on Trump whatsoever. He's been exonerated, as he said, Epstein drops.
Well, it also came out this week that he was in contact with the prosecutor earlier on saying, you're going after these people, right? Like, you're looking into this. If you need my help in any way, let me know. And they, had a note that he was extremely cooperative in the whole process. So whatever he knew, he was turning, state's evidence against Epstein to get him busted. He didn't like seeing it. He didn't want anything to do with it in his club, or his guests, members. They pay a lot of money to have a nice, safe place to be in. He doesn't want pedophiles rolling around in there, harassing his guests, kids, So, yeah, it's funny. I watched a bit of a debate, a part of it. I mean, some of these things are so damn long. But the question it was a liberal saying Trump is in the Epstein files. He's guilty. And he's like, all right, which one? Which file? What are we looking for exactly? Can you quote the exact place that says Trump did this? And they just turned to mush. It's like, well, I don't have all the Epstein files with me right now. But my television told me. I watched The View, and they said he was guilty.
That's exactly right. I mean, I do it all the time on X, all these memes about, in a real world, we would never allow a pedophile to be the president. I'm like, well, first of all, that's a lie. There's no evidence of that. And it's just who the left is, man. But here's the thing. All the stuff that's coming out in these Epstein drops are mostly Democrats, but there are probably some rhinos in there as well. But what's going to happen when the hardcore stuff gets released? Mark my words again. I'm saying this for the record. You're going to have people on the left that are going to stop ignorantly attacking us as if we're the enemy and join us in bringing down the sick, satanic pedophiles. That day is coming because once the true hardcore reveals come out and the details are released, there's no way you can defend that, no matter who you are. Now, you can be silent about it, but you can't defend it because it's so offensive. It's so evil. You just can't. You just can't defend it. But the left has successfully defended a lot of things in the past, killing babies after they're born and cutting off children's genitalia and all that kind of stuff. But this is something too far. And the left will join us, some on the left. And I'm looking forward to that moment because I don't hate the Democrats. I just want them to be grounded in reality and come to their senses and realize that we're not the enemy, that the enemy is the very people that is controlling the Democrat Party, the globalists. I've made this clear 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly. And we have, and it's true. And, it's right there for everyone to see. They're not hiding it. We say a million times how they're not hiding it, folks. But anyway, let's move over to Keir Starmer's England. Keir Starmer! Where everything is breaking down over there. Sir Keir Starmer. Oh, you freak, you freakazoid. You worthless. Okay, so this, I guess we should start at the beginning. Rupert Lowe put out that amazing speech the other day, that 20-minute, or there was a 7-minute long video. I played it on the show Sunday night, where he introduces the world to Restore Britain. Restore Britain, a brand new party that's going to be filled with non-politicians that all want what's right for England, to stop the importation, to begin the deportations, the mass deportations, and to, kick 5 million people out of the country, basically. It is powerful what they're looking to do. It will change England. It will save England. It'll make England England again. England is, as of right now, a lost country. It's there's no going back. It will lose its culture within the next 20-some years. It'll be majority Muslim, and the day it votes 51% Muslim is the day England is no longer going to be England. It will changed very quickly thereafter. And good luck to the king. Hey, you are literally presiding over the end of a 1,000-year, monarchy. Congratulations. That's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me it's not managed and out there happening. So anyway, Nigel Farage came out and said, we're going to hold elections right away now. He was going to postpone them through the rest of the year. He came out and said, nope, we're going to have these right away now. And Nigel Farage is coming out and taking credit for it. He's doing the peacock strut out there.
Right.
Right. Which is funny because Farage is the one who stands to lose the most here because everyone's saying, hey, man, if we got a choice, I mean, Farage is great. He's the only choice we had. But if we got a better choice than that, we're going to leave reform right now and go to restore. Because that's what they really want. So go ahead, man. I've been rambling.
No, I mean, I think you covered that well, man. I haven't been keeping up too much lately with the UK. I mean, it's so depressing. I don't really want to. We got so many problems here in the United States. And I know it sucks over there. I know it sucks pretty much everywhere in the European Union, with the exception of a few places. It's definitely more authoritarian. And Mark Rubio talked about that at one of these global.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about, hey, we need to be united with the European nations. It's part of our history. But a lot of that depends on you guys. You guys are following a path that is contrary to American values. So we want to be connected with you. We want to be a part of the European Union. I don't mean a part like like part of the European Union, but where we're working together on issues and things and trade and commerce and ideas and everything else. But that's going to be on them, man, because a lot of the people in Europe, they do not value what America values. They don't value free speech like we do. They don't value freedom. They don't value prosperity. They don't value all the innovation that actually frees humanity. Instead, they want to shut all that down and basically create a world where, everything that the people do has to get approval from these elitist scumbags. And in the UK, they're pushing that whole digital ID thing, which is pretty much the end once that happens, because then it's just a downward spiral from there, man. Because once they got you all digitized, it's just a matter of time before they use the AI and the AI algorithms to control every aspect of your life, man. I mean, the digital ID, digitizing humanity, that's one of the key goals of the globalists and the radical left. And once that happens, I don't think they're coming back from that. None.
Yeah, exactly. John Cleese made a interesting, John Cleese from Monty Python, one of my personal heroes, retweeted a post from the gov.uk, and it talks about terrorist ideologies, and it says, quote, cultural nationalism. Western culture is under threat from mass migration and lack of integration by certain ethnic and cultural groups. So basically, they're defining extreme right-wing terrorism as being concerned about Western culture and it being under threat from mass migration. And so he retweeted that and said, as I am Islamo-skeptic, I'm now worried that the Labour government may categorize me as a terrorist to think I once supported them. He goes on, I'll say it again. Criticism, Islam is not racist. It's culturalist. For example, disapproving of female genital mutilation is not racist. Criticism of Islam is Islamo-skeptic. There is no phobia involved in criticizing a religion that's for spiders. So, you got to love his wit and humor.
Taking away criticism is how you control entire populations, right? If you can't, and it's the perfect way to enable a elite structure to be able to do whatever they want, because there's no accountability once you can't criticize. And it goes beyond Islam. I mean, in a lot of these nations, it's now like, I think in Germany and different places like that, or even probably Australia, if you criticize the government, that's bad. And that's a hate crime, or hate speech or something like that. So they take these liberties that are just like, unbelievable. And next thing you know, your whole nation's enslaved.
Yeah, it's wild. And I can move over to, there's a big uproar going on because in Mamdani's New York, Mad Manny I got to come up with a voice for him. Matmani! He is, there's a push to ban dogs. Okay, because dogs are haram. They're forbidden in Islam. To touch them, to go near them, to, let them sniff your head, nothing. No community, you can't like dogs at all in Islam. It's just part of the deal. It's part of the religion. And one congressman, I forget his name off the top of my head, said basically, fine, if you don't like dogs, leave. We don't need you. Right. And there's a big uproar. Everyone's pissed off about it. But there's also now a massive increase in New York City of mosques that are blasting the call to prayer 5 times a day. And the first one starts at 5 in the morning, 5 a.m., folks. You live a block away from a mosque. You've got this thing going off, blasting as loud as possible at 5 a.m., guaranteed to wake you up every single day. And then again, 5 times throughout the day. So you're sitting there working on something, and then bam, it scares the crap out of you, because you weren't expecting that. And what does that call to prayer say? Our God is greater.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all about how their God is the right God, every other God is fake. And it's if you actually had the words sung in English, it would be insanely offensive to everyone.
Mm-hmm. And those same Democrats that are pushing for that to be, a thing and allowing it to happen, right, are the same people that will make sure that a church bell doesn't ring, which is, by the way, not real loud, doesn't travel very far, and pretty much peaceful sounding. Yeah.
Well, who cares, man? Let's make them big and loud, Who cares? We're founded in Christian Catholic, traditions. So it's
a bell. It's a bell. The bell itself isn't resonating. I'm a Christian bell. I'm representing Christians. It's just a bell ringing. I mean, it's not like with what you're saying, they're doing these prayers and shouting and chanting, but there's actually words behind it, but not with a bell. There's nothing behind a bell but a sound. It's an instrument.
But it's like, okay, some comedian put out a skit the other day about how a bunch of Brits go to England and they're like, "Oi, mate, there's a lot of noodles here, don't you think? I don't really eat noodles." About some, bangers and mash up in here, right? Like, you don't go to other countries and say, "Hey, change for us. We're here now. You need to change everything for us."
Oh, it's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah, if I move to a Muslim majority country, I'm going to expect those bells, and I'm going to expect it to hear that call to prayer. Right? And I wouldn't say a thing about it because I moved there.
Yeah, and they're banning pork in certain places and areas. Forget about that. Forget that. That ain't going to happen. Eat your pork and eat till your heart is content. This is America, land of the home and land of the free, baby. And if you don't like it, get out. Get out! If you don't like it, get out! That's what I got to say, man.
Yeah.
And I say that totally in control. Not outrage, just pure passion.
Get out. You don't like it? Get out.
Sorry about that. If that blew your speakers and you're driving down the road, I apologize, man. But I'm not going to pay to replace your speaker, okay?
Exactly. I love dogs personally, though. I mean, dogs are what make the world so fantastic.
I mean, the sheer audacity. I mean, can we even stress this enough, man? I mean, I think you're going too light, CS. You're being way too kind. We're talking dogs, man. People in America love dogs more than they do other people. Do you understand?
Oh, I understand completely. I'm exactly the same way. I mean, I go to the dog park and I know every dog by name, everything about them. They know me and their owners. I'm like, "Hey, yeah, what's up, buddy?" I don't know their names. I know their dogs' names.
Yeah. Well, how much longer before people, get fed up? Because, the left is always fed up. The left is mobilized. The left has always been organized. And the right is getting better at it. But when are we going to say enough is enough, man? We're fed up with this nonsense. We're going to go to these city meetings. We're going to stand up against these bullies on the left. And we're going to tell them like it is, man. And we're going to take our country back.
Yeah, it's happened a few times, but never really at the level it needed to. I mean, I could look at some of the school board meetings that during COVID, especially when the parents were at home listening over the kids' ear to what the teachers were saying, and they're like, well, what's going on here? So they started showing up at the school board meetings and expressing their opinions of, hey, this is messed up. What's going on here? Like, I see what you're teaching my kid, and it's insane. And they were branded as terrorists.
That's true. That's how authoritarian the Biden regime was. Hey, did you see that lady that was at the airport and that she was ranting? This was right after the Epstein drops came out. I think it was the first drop that came out. And she was ranting, telling everybody, wake up, they're eating babies, they're killing and torturing and child sex trafficking. And people were just looking at her dumbfounded, man. And she was just off and saying, what is it going to take to wake you people up? And she would not relent. And I think that's what it's going to take. Now, I don't know if I'd go that far about eating babies or anything, but stick to the facts. I mean, maybe they are eating babies. I don't know. Maybe that's what the beef jerky is. I'm sure we're going to find out. But stick to the facts, and the facts alone are enough to pretty much make everybody pissed off. Because if you're not pissed off at what's coming out, there's something wrong with you, man. You got no feelings. You're no longer a human being.
Yeah, and I got to give you credit for the beef jerky stuff last week. You started, I think you mentioned that right with like 30 seconds before break, and I'm like, whoa, time out. We got to come back from break and get into this. And then you broke it all down. And the next morning I wake up and it's like the lead article in a couple different news sites. And I was really impressed. I'm like, wow, Barry, you brought this up before it even got anywhere near my radar, but it absolutely would have been on my radar the next morning. So good on you. You want to even bring that up a little bit?
I mean, I'll just bring up the one point where there was that email between Epstein and someone else, and they were talking about how, there's going to be this chef who's going to tell us how to make this beef jerky, and it's going to be at a restaurant that's called Cannibal and Cooks. And then he says, jerky and steak, as if you would eat jerky with steak, like you were talking about, right? No one sits down at a table with a steak and a potato and a salad and has a solid beef jerky. The beef jerky is something else, okay, folks? Wake up. And I'm sorry if that offends you, if that makes you think, oh my God, if these people are really that sick, we've got a problem. Well, yeah, we'll snap out of it because it's a possibility, and we are going to find out what all these code words mean, because clearly it's code. Clearly it's code. You don't walk beef jerky anywhere, right? Beef jerky doesn't have legs. There's a whole bunch of things in these descriptions about beef jerky that does not fit beef jerky. And we know that a lot of the other code words that they've used before in the past, according to the FBI, are things like, pizza means one thing, hot dogs means another thing. And a lot of it's related to pedophilia and boy love and all that kind of stuff that the left says is okay. It's just sexual preference. No, it's sick.
Yeah, and I don't like covering this stuff, man. I know you don't either. This is the last thing we want to be talking about. If we sound like conspiracy theorists, trust me, we'd rather not be having this conversation. It's just, we kind of have to bring it up when it comes up, because this stuff tends very often to be true and scary and yikes. And if we don't address it, who will? We just let it disappear into the ethos forever and no one ever covers it, because the mainstream media sure won't. No way they're going to touch this. I mean, I think it was like Molly Hemingway that was one of the people who put out a pretty fiery, spicy thread on that. But other than that, nobody. You're not going to go to CNN and type in beef jerky and see this big article about Epstein Island and, them bringing in private chefs. It just doesn't exist. So, yeah, I hate covering it. I'm sure you do too, Barry.
Yeah, I just wrote a whole post about it, about how, if I'm being completely honest, I was saying something to the extent of, I really don't want to have to think about these things or cover these things because honestly, it's kind of demoralizing to you, to think that there's that kind of evil that's running somewhat, systemically and rampantly on the world today is not a pleasant thought. But I end with saying, I would rather know the truth than, suffering a little temporal pain and agony from all of this information is worth it if we can get truth and justice. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. Because if these people are as bad as many people believe they are, they need to be held accountable. Because if they're capable of these kinds of things, these are dangerous people, and they're powerful, dangerous people. That makes it even worse. It's not like it's some random guy like a Jeffrey Dahmer or a Son of Sam or Charles Manson among the citizens. These are powerful people that control policies. We know now that Epstein was behind a lot of policies around the world. He was essentially, a lot of people are saying...
On that note... I hear your voice going higher and higher, but we're out of time, buddy. On that note, we got to take a break. Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show will be right back after this.
I did it again, man.
You did.
You
did it
again. The
again.
sentence out, but then you blew into the next sentence with even more like of a lungful of. I was like, oh god.
You scare me, Barry, when you do this reciprocal breathing thing. All right, but it's all right. You know,
what's
we'll
reciprocal?
Yeah, what is that?
Reciprocal breathing is when you can keep going talking without taking a full breath because you're breathing and talking at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Wow.
That's how a lot of brass instrument players can hit those long notes for so long because they're doing this thing called reciprocal breathing.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the Steve Bannon stuff in the Epstein files, we can talk about that too, because there are a couple of things that are concerning. Before, I told you I hadn't seen anything concrete about Bannon. It was bad, but now that I've done some deeper research, there are a couple of things that he said in those files, man, that are kind of concerning about Steve Bannon. Now, I don't know if he was playing Jeffrey Epstein, and then Jeffrey Epstein was playing him as well, or if he was just somewhat delusional for making some sort of he was working with Jeffrey Epstein at some level beyond the documentary that he was making with him. He was working with him politically on a global scale. Steve Bannon was, according to these texts. I mean, we can cover that.
We got about a minute left before we lose this room. So if we do, I'll just bring us back up. Same place. Same.
Okay.
But I like Steve Bannon, man. You know, I hope that there's a not logical explanation behind it all.
I got mixed feelings about Steve Bannon.
Yeah, me too.
Well, now I do, for certain.
Let's see.
Yeah. There's
Wobbly says he's bringing the beef.
Oh, no. Just as long as it's not the globalist beef jerky, we're good.
Lose the room, he says. Lose the room. We are. We're going to lose it any second now. I'll catch you over on the other one. I'm just going to end it right here and bring you back in on the next one. All right. That was hour one of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. Hour 2 coming up next. Same stream? That's right. What will Barry say this time? Will he go on and find some other code word? Find out more as I bring them back. Veterans Radio in the Kick Chat. Thank you, buddy.
All right.
You know, it's interesting, though, when you look at this whole thing, because we've talked about this, you and I have, John, about how some of the people that we thought were with us may not be with us, and that some that we thought were against us may actually either be with us or eventually come to our side. And that's the thing about this is, you know, everybody is pretty much picking sides. And I think if you try to ride the fence and play both sides, that's like the most dangerous place to be. It's better for you to pick the right side or even the wrong side than to try to be in the middle.
No. It's better to pick a side, one of those kind of sides, than to pick your nose or your rear end. Okay? That's what needs to be said. All right? Just keep it to that. All right?
You can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. It's just not right.
Well, you can pick your friends.
Yeah, but you can't pick their nose.
Yeah, I better not. I better not hear you doing that.
Unless you're really
nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Is that before or after the dumpster at Audi's?
I don't know.
You know. Oh well.
My mind's running. It's racing wild.
It is.
Started my mind. I'm not even.
We feel it, don't we, John?
Yeah, that's racing.
It's racing.
Man.
Wobbly says better to not pick at all.
What, somebody's nose or a side?
Yay! You get into chat and you talk to Wobbly about that. I mean, that's...
Well, speaking of picking, orifices, there was this transgender wrestler who was wrestling some woman, and she didn't know that the woman or the person she was wrestling was a man. She thought she was wrestling another woman. He literally stuck his finger in her, and like sexually assaulted her during the wrestling match. Which is another reason why men should not be in women's wrestling. It's just not appropriate at any level. Did you see that article by any chance? It was. I think it was.
Yeah, I did. That was wild.
I mean, and it wasn't like, of course, in wrestling, your hands go everywhere, under the person's crotch. This was like deliberate kind of thing. And she was so shocked. I think she stopped right there. She let him pin him because she was violated. I mean, it's just nuts, man. I'm just so tired of the insanity and all the evil. It really does weigh you down after a while when you see it happening, and then nobody does anything about it, and they just keep saying it's okay, it's okay, it's okay when it's not. It just drives me batty, man.
That's fun.
It's all good. We'll get through it, man. We're gonna get through this. I'm giving myself therapy. We're gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this.
You're gonna get through this, Barry.
Yeah.
You're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
Which brings up today's sponsor, Better Health.
I've noticed that is a big sponsor on like every TikTok and YouTube influencer out there. Mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they actually have AI therapists now that will help you.
Well, I'm waiting for you to come out with a Brain Force supplement. All right.
That's Alex Jones.
I will take it if it comes from you, not Alex. Now, I just don't need that loudness. All right, but I could use your pep. Okay, I could use that extra step in my walk.
Take some Brain Force and some methylene blue SP, some creatine.
Creatine and...
I don't know. It's a crazy world. Gotta love it though, man. It's like Sick of the Lies keeps every time I post something. He goes, and again, I've said it myself before, but he's like, it's an amazing time to live in. I'm like, yeah, it really is if you think about it.
Everybody needs some Tang, but I prefer the orange flavor.
Me too.
Okay,
I thought that was
I guess that one. That was a wet one. All right. Anyways, okay, I'm stopping for the night on that note. Too much coffee for me.
Yeah.
I need one of those little sound makers for when we hit our time.
Yeah, right when I'm like ranting, you're like, Barry, stop.
Oh, okay. Are you trying to tell me something?
Do you hear that? I guess you guys don't hear that. It'll come through.
No.
Okay, it will come through on the replay though, because I'm not sharing sound. Oh well.
All right. I feel like there's another natural big story we need to get into next. Oops.
What
Like
do you got on
30
the radar?
seconds?
Oh, well, we have the Rubio speech.
Yeah,
I don't think I have any clips from that, though.
I'd like to hear it again because I was trying to recall it when I was talking about it. I don't know if I got it exactly like he said, but he does want us to partner with Europe,
Okay, 3, 2, 1, and you're live right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. That's right, Wednesday night edition for February 18th, 2026. And boy, we have a show for you tonight, folks. All kinds of stuff going on in the world. I guess we should start with the security conference that just went down in Munich over the last few days. And Marco Rubio really stole the show. He got a standing ovation, which is, not very common. And just talked about how Europe, America, we're one people, we're one union. They're like our big brother, or our parents almost, And that so many of our founders, so many of our original inhabitants came over from Europe, colonized and developed the United States and turned it into what it is today. It borrowed from all of the best parts of European laws and philosophies, concepts, the Magna Carta, I could go on and on. And we've always been there for each other. We've always been great allies, trading partners. We vacation in each other's countries. We like each other. And how important it is to keep that going through time. And how they're losing a grip on it. We had J.D. Vance a year ago at the same conference in Munich telling them that they are wandering away from their founding, from their freedom of speech. Granted, none of them have it in their constitutions. None of them have made the freedom of speech law like America has. But they've always sort of, felt like they could let their people say what they wanted and they weren't afraid of what they were going to say because, debate is good. You want debate. Now, it's very, very different. They're trying to, drop a $125 million fine on Twitter for allowing people to speak. They're trying to ban anyone under 16 from using the platforms, and that's going to happen very soon. Australia's already done it. And so Marco Rubio went over there and said what everyone was thinking, and it was a wonderful speech, but, he gets all this heat. Everyone hates it. Kevin O'Leary was on, was it CNBC? We went on Fox Business Network the other day. Sorry about that. And said basically this all started a few weeks ago at Davos, this famous speech Carney gave, the Prime Minister of Canada, the world's New World Order, that did not go well, and Trump administration, as you remember. He called Canada's deal with China part of the New World Order.
Yep.
And it hurt relations, he says. Sorry, I thought I had a video in here. It actually hurt relations with Canada at this point, which hasn't really started on the tariff front. The point is, though, we are getting to a place now where there's only one adversary, and that's time to just call it out what it is. It's China, and that's it. And he goes on to say, and so you either are with us, so to speak, against China, or you are not, because China's getting ready for world dominance. I call it what it is. Economically, military, AI power, you name it. Those guys are not fooling around. And if we don't wake up and get together on this, they will be a superpower. If you're okay with that, if you want to live in that kind of a world, well, I don't. So I'd like to see this thing worked out pretty damn fast, he says. And so that's kind of the meat and potatoes, at least from, his perspective of what he was calling for over there and why the left is freaking out about it. Because they don't see it that way. They just see whatever these guys want, we want the opposite. And so that's what we're going to scream bloody murder for, is the opposite of whatever Trump wants. And it just shoots them in the foot every time. It's an 80-20 thing. No one wants to live under China. But I don't know. What do you say, Barry?
Well, what Rubio's speech did was it basically put all of the pressure on them by showing that it's not us that's abandoning them. It's them abandoning us and common sense values and morals and ethics and ideas and being pro-humanity and being pro-self-empowerment. So I think that one of the other keys that he said was, I think it was near the end of the speech where he talked about how, hey, we want to act with you guys. You know, we want reciprocity. Thank you. I got it out finally. But he said we are prepared to act alone, but unity is our preference. So it's on them. You know, you hear it all the time from the left, all these little tweets on X from a bunch of people that don't even know what they're talking about. Look, Trump has turned his back on all these people. No, all of those people, those authoritarians on the left and in the European Union have turned their back on the United States and everything that makes the United States great. They wanted to mold us into their image. And instead, we're saying, hey, if you can be, reasonable, and we can agree on some certain basic fundamental truths like freedom and free speech and, valuing human life. Because, look, in Canada, this is the number 3 killer, euthanasia. That's not valuing human life, man. So their ideals, man, they've crossed the Rubicon. They're not even aligned with us anymore. They turned their back on us. They abandoned us. We didn't abandon them. And that's the key to that speech. And that's the most important part, I think, of the whole speech. I don't think they're going to work with us, to be quite frank. I think we're going to be doing this thing alone for a while.
Yeah, until they need us, which won't be very long.
Yeah, they're not going to do it out of goodwill. They're going to do it because they need our money or they need our military or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They're a failing country. They don't pay for their own defense. They've got bloated social budgets, and they're in big trouble over there. And the euro I thought was a horrible idea, but let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. When the proverbial stuff hits the fan, let's see how the euro holds up and how many people run out of that thing to try to create their own currencies again. Because, it's if you don't control your currency, you're not really a country. But I digress. Look at England. They are very happy to have their own currency now. I guarantee it. And, European trips are pretty cheap for them at this point. They got to go through passport control. Well, no one else does to go into England. But, it is what it is. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I think at some point sooner than later, they're going to say, wow, we're in big trouble. We need help. And it's going to look ugly. What's going to go down in Europe is just going to be ugly. It's Rupert Lowe said it well. This is going to be very painful, what's about to happen. But if they can do it in England, then they can start doing it in other countries that need to do it. Some countries don't need to do it. Poland's just fine, thank you very much. Hungary didn't miss a beat. But other places are going to have Spain is going to be really, 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 really tough.
It's going to be bad for the people of the European Union. But the elite is going to be their dream world, man. They're going to be gathering up more power. They're going to be gathering up more monopolies. They're going to be gathering up more land, more property. I don't even think people are going to be able to own a home at the rate they're going in the European Union. They're basically frowning on the idea of owning a home because it's just not sustainable in their viewpoint, because of the green scam.
Yeah, the green scam. They bit into it way too hard. And California has too. Okay, I'm going to transition a little bit here, but not too far. California gas prices have gone up 40 cents in the last couple of weeks. Okay?
Right.
They're $1.66 over the national average at $4.58. So what are you paying, Barry, in Oklahoma?
I'm around $2.
Around $2. So $4.58 is what you're paying in California.
Right.
And that's before you start getting into like rural California, and you're suddenly out in the middle of the desert and you need gas, and then it's like $6.50 a gallon.
Yeah.
But nationally, they've been going up a little bit. The national average right now is $2.92, and 40 cents in the last week or 2 weeks. That's a big thing. There's a refinery that is just in the process of closing down, and another one closed down like last year, and they're not coming back. They're not replacing it with anything. They're just trying to get those electric cars in there to run everything on electric. And so they're not worried about it. They want $4.50. They want $5 gas.
Yeah.
Because then it forces everyone into electric, which is better, for them in the long run. Because they own stocks and whatnot, How do you think Nancy Pelosi got so rich? The Green New Deal. This is a moneymaker for them, folks. When you're paying $5 a gallon for gas, somebody's getting rich. They're actually having to ship gasoline in from the Bahamas to keep California going. From the Bahamas.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'd think California would be sustainable, as rich as they are in resources, as rich as they are in manpower. And, I mean, why are they always having to look elsewhere? I mean, they can't even supply their own water, which that should not be a problem, by the way.
Yeah. You just got to be smart about it, because it comes out there in, it comes down in buckets and then doesn't rain for a long time. But then it comes down in buckets again. So you have to control that. When it rains, you got to capture it and store it.
Well, these are just that don't even want you collecting your own rainwater. They say you can't own it, that the government owns the rainwater, even if it falls down on your land, on your own land. Like you couldn't put a barrel in your backyard and collect the rainwater and use it for yourself. I mean, these are people that are power hungry control freaks that want to take every single thing away from you. Take away all of your agency, completely take away your free will, monitor, track, trace, and surveil everything you do. And this is a Democrat thing. The globalists are all, at least the powerful ones, are the ones that are making all the policy worldwide. They're all liberal, every single one of them. There isn't a conservative in that bunch. Now, they may claim to be a conservative, but all their policies are liberal.
Yep. And it's backfiring so huge on California. It really is. There's so many people leaving that state. And honestly, it's the most beautiful state you're ever going to find, folks. I mean, Utah might actually be prettier when you get into the nitty gritty of it all. Just like the Moab arches, is Zion, even the little bit of it that touches the Colorado River. Actually, none of it does touch the Grand Canyon now that I think about it, but it's pretty close, just a couple miles down the road. And it's just gorgeous. But yeah, no, California's got everything. It's got the mountains, it's got the beaches, it's got beautiful women, it's got great food, tons and tons of land, diversity in where you want to live. You want to be in the forest, you want to be in the desert, you want to be wherever you want to be. I mean, that's why they film so many movies out there, because they could, drive 2 hours in any direction and be either in the Midwest, Montana, or be in the desert in Arizona.
Well, remember what you were talking about, California? You were literally talking about how they weren't letting people go into the forest, national forest, because I don't remember what was the reason they were saying, because it could rain or storm, or I don't remember.
I think. Oh no, you know what rings a bell on that was not California. It was in Canada during the when they had the forest fires. Yeah, you couldn't walk down any trails in the forest. Like you couldn't go outside in Canada.
I mean, in the liberal world order, let's just say, are they going to even let you do things? Are they going to let you go to the beach? I mean, because you have to drive there, and then that's going to be a carbon tax of some kind, I mean, what are they going to even allow you to do? That's the question.
Right? Yeah, I mean, you live in cities. You'll have your local areas you can go to and whatnot, but museums and stuff, they'll probably be pretty crappy. Modern art and all that. You don't want to, it doesn't have any meaning to it or soul. It's just modern art. Not that all modern art has no soul. I want to be clear about that, but you get my point. It's not, the Mona Lisa or something. And you'll be able to, look at some crappy art down at your little place. You got a park maybe you can walk to. You got a bunch of restaurants that you won't be able to afford. And what you can afford there will, be nothing. So you'll just go back to your pod because you're bored and you'll look at your screen. And your screen will keep you busy.
You'll have to get rid of your dog because he farts. Either that or you have to put a fart bag on your dog, right? Because we got to cut methane gas from being, releasing into the atmosphere. It's so dangerous, right?
Well, that would be sort of a huge bonus. If you could actually have a dog, then you're sort of in the 1%,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not any more crazy than Bill Gates' global dimming. He wants to dim the planet. Now that's only a psychopath would say. I mean, that is so bad for the planet in 1,001 different ways. Where could you even start with that? Yeah. And yet he wants to geoengineer and put a cloud covering, which I think they're already doing. Here in Tulsa, we had 2 grayouts from all the geoengineerings just last week. And also, he just recently said, crazy Bill Gates did. He said, when he was asked by Colbert, are humans going to be needed in the future? You know, once AI kind of reaches a certain point, he said, no, we're not going to be needed at all. And then he, you know, Colbert was shocked. He was like, oh my God, like that's horrifying and terrifying. And then he laughs and his arms are flailing around and he goes, oh, well, we'll decide. Well, when he says we'll decide, he doesn't mean us, we the people. He means this is a little elite group and club. That's who's going to decide whether or not we're not needed anymore. And then what happens when we're not needed? Are they going to even like let us go to the beach? Are they even going to let us go to the gym? Are they going to confine us to these like little 15-minute cities that they're promoting?
Or will they, you know, like sterilize everyone and just get us down to that magic, 500 million population?
Right.
Which is the max for the planet, and then get us down to that, and then you can start to sort of maybe go outside again, you know?
Yeah. The permanent lockdown. What would they call that? The global warming lockdowns, which is something they actually did in a few places. They did it in India at least once or twice during the shamdemic as sort of a trial run because they wanted to make that a real thing. You know, like every now and then, every couple of weeks, we need to have a global warming shutdown, and you just stay in your home and you can't get out. Remember that? That's how crazy people are.
That's what we were talking about up in Canada when they had the wildfires. You know, they said basically no one can go into the forest. If there's trails and stuff and you want to walk on the trail, you can't do it. And that was exactly what it was for. Global warming. It was a problem they perceived to be so great that humans can't even go outside in Canada in the summer, in the 2 months of warm weather that they have every year. You know?
I'm just so mind-boggled at how we've allowed this kind of insanity to enter politics and actually have a place and a platform. You know, why haven't they been laughed off the stage? Why haven't these people been peacefully confronted with, you know, common sense civil discourse? Well, I guess part of it is because they cut the civil discourse. The left doesn't allow civil discourse. Remember during the presidential campaigns and all the different other campaigns, you know, back in 2016 and 2020, they go, well, I don't want to debate a white supremacist, terrorist, racist, you know, I'm not going to give them a platform. Well, the only reason they didn't want to debate us was because they knew that they would lose the debate because their ideas suck. So they just went the name calling. That's what happened, folks.
Yeah, it's you start to lose the argument, and then you turn to name calling because that's all you have left at that point. You get angry. It's personal to you that you're so passionate about something that can so easily be debunked, so to speak. And so, yeah, it turns to that anger right away, and that's where it gets violent. You see it all the time on the streets and these street videos nowadays, man. It's really bad. 88%, this is from Post Millennial, 88% of college students pretend to hold progressive views in order to be socially, academically accepted. 88% pretend to be more liberal than they are to be accepted.
I believe that.
Yeah. 82% said they've submitted assignments misrepresenting their actual views in order to align with an expected ideology. When they put in something that challenged the expected views, 80% say that they did not receive positive feedback on their work, right? And they're doing this in their personal lives too, like with their friends.
Right.
They're pretending to be more liberal than they really are because they don't want to have that confrontation. They just want to hang out with their quote-unquote friends. So, I mean, you might have a group of 5 people that are all really like Trump supporters that just pretend to be super liberal in front of each other, and God, if they ever just said the truth, they'd all realize they completely agree. They don't need to live a lie anymore.
Yeah, well, we have to stop being afraid. That's the problem. But a lot of people are afraid that, you know, somebody might turn violent on them because we see it happen. Oh, you're for ICE? Oh, we're going to beat you down. Oh, you're for MAGA? Oh, we're going to beat you down. I mean, there are a good number of people on the radical extreme far left that lean in towards violent behavior and physical violence. We've seen it happen time and time again, and people are afraid to speak their mind. You know, in a normal society, you could do it and the person could be angry at you and walk away, but now they might just slug you as well.
Yeah. 77% of them agreed with the statement. Silence is safest when unsure how views will be received, right? And so of those people, 91% said that they would lie about it to other people. So 72% of the people out there are, in this case, saying that, it's not okay to have women and men's sports, specifically asking that, 72%. Of those, 91% would lie about that. So almost everybody who is against it would never fess up to that. And that's how you end up with women in sports. If people stood up to it and said what they believe, and then 9% of the 70%, was that 6 people out of 100?
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm going here. Everyone's lying. They're all lying. Just to perpetuate this. But anyway, folks, we've got to go to break. The Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break.
You got out of it.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you did good.
I know. I was trying to get that stat out, and I wanted to give you room, but I'm like, damn, it just ticked. It just ticked to 25.
Even as fast as I talk, I couldn't get anything out.
Sorry about that. Do you want to talk on that?
I don't even remember what it was. I've already forgotten.
Okay, then we'll move on.
No, I was going to mention just one other thing about, I don't need to say it on the air, but I just thought I'd point it out anyway, about how they hate the idea of other ideas, other than their own. They went so far, and you know this, and we all know it, as to literally cancel Donald J. Trump's Twitter account, the president of the United States. I mean, that's how extreme these nutcases are.
Yeah, while he was in the office.
Doc 420 is listening to us over on Rumble.
What's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
Caught him in there a couple times.
But, I see a lot of people, too, that are getting angry about stupid stuff. When I think there's really bigger issues that need to be addressed, that people need to be angry about, you know what I'm saying? I see that happening a lot, this whole doom and gloom, black-pilled thing, where it's all falling apart. I mean, come on, man, okay? Let's get behind our ideas, and let's talk about those more than anything else, man. And, yeah, get out there and hammer it. But this idea that, we're never going to win, it's all going to stay the same, that's got to end, man. Because, look, if we do that, the socialist, Marxist, globalist Democrats will take the power back in 2028 without a doubt, man. That's a for sure thing. If we fumble the ball, just because we don't like some of the things Trump is doing, man, I can't even imagine what it would be like. And I've always said from day one, when I first came on Minds back in 2016, actually 2015, I said, Trump is not an end-all. He's a stepping stone. He's going to do what he has to do. I've always said he's more of a wrecking ball, and then whoever takes control after him builds it up to where we need to be. He's got to wreck down the globalist agenda, and then someone else has to come in there and kind of start fixing things. No way he can do it in 4 years. Impossible. No way. So I don't know, man. I'm tired of the black-pilled stuff. And you got people like Mike Adams and Maria Z saying crazy stuff, and I've put all their quotes, in articles that I've written about them, literally making up lies, about Trump, making up lies. And look, there are things you can complain about Trump, but you need to make sure they're based in reality and based in facts. Like Marie Z literally said that Trump has, questionable things in the Epstein files, like he's a pedophile. No, he's not a pedophile. There's nothing in there that shows he's a pedophile. Nothing. And yet she said that in a recent interview with Mike Adams. And Mike Adams said that Trump is going to literally be forced out of office, forced to and live next door to Jeffrey Epstein, who lives in Israel, supposedly, according to Mike Adams. And I'm like, you people are talking nuts, man. You're totally not grounded in reality whatsoever. At least if you complain about Trump, make sure they're 100% real and grounded in reality.
Mike Adams.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of the Dilbert guy.
Natural News, the guy. Okay, I like Mike Adams. I just think he's gone off the rails, man. And he literally said that Trump is basically promoting autonomous robots that are going to go out and kill everyone. And I did my research. I spent an hour researching if that was true. Turns out it's not true. When AI is used in any type of warfare, there has to be human oversight. There's no such
30
thing.
30 seconds, guys.
As Trump supporting autonomous drones to go out and kill people.
Wobbly, I don't know if you caught what Wobbly was saying in chat. I copy-pasted it in our separate chat so that you could see it. He said that, well, anyways, you'll see it later. Here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to back to hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition, with Bullhorn Barry on the co-host seat tonight. What's going on, Barry?
Fired up tonight, man, as usual.
So let's see,
right? 2026, it's going to be a wild one, man. If the first 2 months is any kind of an indicator, can you imagine what the next 10 months are going to be like, man? Seriously.
Oh, yeah. And it's our 250th birthday as America. 250 years. That is a big deal. It's a quarter of a millennia that we've survived as a country. And I hope we go nuts with that and celebrate the crap out of this year. I mean, folks, get out there, buy 50 flags, buy, those sweatpants that have the flag on them, like from Napoleon Dynamite.
Right.
Get those. Wear red, white, and blue everywhere. MAGA, wear it all, man. Just celebrate America this year. Let everyone know you love this country because it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. That's right. Blow something up.
Sure. A lot of fireworks this 4th of July, man. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. So
we were talking about polls and about Trump. By the way, Trump has a 48% approval rating according to Rasmussen, and it's the only daily presidential poll out there. And we were talking before, I think it was during the break, where a lot of people, they won't even say they support Trump. About 10% will not say they support Trump because of the very thing you were talking about, right before we went to break. So is he at 48% or is he really at 58% approval rating? And yet I hear the right-wing, black-pilled doom and gloomers saying that Trump's approval rating is collapsing. Okay, yeah, according to CNN maybe or MSNBC or some bogus leftist poll that isn't even a fair poll. They did the same thing when Trump was running in 2016, saying he was losing and losing badly, and Hillary Clinton was 99% sure going to win, and only Rasmussen had the right number saying he was going to win. I'm sick of the lies, man. I am sick of the black-pilled doom and gloomers spreading lies and disinformation and misinformation and spreading doom and gloom. I'm sick of it.
Sick of the lies, man. You know what that would make is a fantastic name for a channel.
As he always says, it's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, I don't see any doom and gloom around Trump. I see what he's doing is incredible. They were just talking today about the, $18 trillion in investments that's coming into the country in the next year. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money. I mean, data centers, all kinds of places that are going to create phenomenal, well-paying jobs. All kinds of auto factories, you name it. It goes on and on and on, folks. $18 trillion. That's half the entire national deficit is poised to be invested into this country over the next year. Starting like it's go time, That's an insane amount of money. It's an insane amount of growth. We could see potentially, and I mean, Barry, write this down. Hit me up at the end of the year if it hits it. At some point in one quarterly period this year, we could see annualized growth at 10% for the U.S. economy. That's the kind of numbers you get out of China. We're already at 5% in Q4. And so it could be as high as 7% GDP growth in the first quarter of this year. And if you're seeing that, I mean, China would beg to get those kind of numbers back. For a developed country as far along as the United States is, to see that type of growth is shocking. And guess what? I mean, there's the rule of 72s, right? You take whatever investment you're looking at, and if it pays 7.2% a year, that's a real easy one. It'll take 10 years to double your money with compounding interest. Okay? So if we're growing at 7%, that's in 10 years, we double the size of the U.S. economy. Double it. And then all of a sudden, the national debt is not as big a deal. Another 10 years after that, you double it again. Now we're at 25% GDP growth. Debt to GDP. And that's like the best number we've had in any of our lifetimes. So can he do it? I don't know. Is it possible? Yeah, it's certainly possible. And if we get this economy going the way it could, kick exports into high gear, we got tariffs running on imports, so we're not buying cheap crap from China. We're buying stuff made here in America. And we're making enough of that stuff that we can export it too, and people around the world want to buy it. Suddenly America's on fire. It's gangbusters. And so that's what I see for America this year, man. That's what I hope to see. So write that down, Barry. 10% growth.
Man, I think you're right on. And look, the top line of defense against the globalist doom and gloom agenda, against the, them taking away everything and making us dependent upon them, is economic prosperity. It may be the number one line of defense against the globalist. And that's why initially they hated Trump more than anything. Before they knew that he was kind of anti-globalist, they hated him because he wanted to bring economic prosperity again. And you cannot control a prosperous nation. You have to first bring them down to their knees to where they're dependent upon you. And that hasn't happened, and that's not going to happen. I don't care what the black-pilled right-wing doom and gloomers keep saying. They keep saying the economy's bad. They're literally talking the Democrat talking points over and over and over again. And I remember CNN and all these other news agencies were coming out saying all these numbers were going to be down, the estimates were down, and then it all came out like a few days later, and they were all up above expectation. That seems to be the typical flow of things that I've seen.
Yeah. Now, job growth is going to be tricky because a lot of the automation that's coming out is, going to be brutal. It is. And, I mean, we even had that guy from Microsoft we were talking about on Sunday night, the head of AI there, who's saying most, entry-level white-collar jobs will dry up in the next 12 to 18 months. So if you're going to college and you're expecting to graduate next year with a marketing degree or something, you might be SOL. Sorry to tell you that now, but yeah. So we're looking at a world where things are changing.
Yeah. No, AI is a real threat. That's a totally different topic. And like I said, Bill Gates just got through saying, we'll decide how much humans are actually necessary, right? How much we're needed. We'll decide. And he doesn't mean we the people. He literally means him and his little shadow cabal. We're going to decide.
Yeah.
So yeah, and look, man, we saw the latest video generations coming out of Seed Dance, man, and it looks almost as real as a blockbuster film, man. Okay, so yeah, there's going to be full feature films made, but that's not probably going to be the main way that AI video generation is going to be used. It's going to be used for independent filmmakers and for everybody, but it'll be used in a good way for independent filmmakers because they'll be able to make a low-budget film look like a high-budget film using video generation for visual effects and for visual elements within their, live action footage. So it's going to aid filmmaking. It is going to take away from a lot of 3D animators, but new jobs are going to be created and new films are going to come out that never would have seen the light of day before because Hollywood would never green light the kind of films that are getting ready to come out because of AI video generation.
Well, I've got a perfect example right here. Writer-director Roger Avery, he won an Academy Award alongside Quentin Tarantino for the screenplay of Pulp Fiction. And he's saying over the last few years, he can't get anything going. So he put together a little AI camp, this group, got all the computer, everything they needed to do it. And now he has 3 feature films in production, fully funded, with investors breaking his door down, basically. One's going to be a family Christmas movie. The other one will be a faith-based movie for next Easter, and then a big romantic war epic he's also working on.
Right.
And, those are 3 films now that won't have any actors, that won't have anything other than AI, that are getting made, that will hit the theaters, and who knows? Eventually we're going to see, the biggest, most popular movie of all time will be an AI-made one. It'll probably happen in the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's a new format, just like 3D animation was a new format at one time. We got the Pixar 3D animation. Then we have sort of 3D animation that looks pretty close to real life. One of the first films that came out like that was Final Fantasy, and it looked pretty close to real, at least what we thought looked close to real back then. Now, of course, it doesn't even compare. But you're right on target, because it was the Deadpool writer and producer, Rhett Reese, who said, and I quote, "I hate to say it, it's likely over for us." And here's the key to that particular quote. He's not saying it's over for us, all the movie-making fans. I mean, the movie fans. He's saying it's over for us in Hollywood. Because now the playing field is going to be leveled. And because of distribution and streaming and all that kind of stuff, and cinema cameras that you can buy for $1,000 or less that rival like an Arri Alexa or a Red camera, that you can buy for next to nothing. Anybody can make a film now if they're talented, have a good script, and then they tie that in with AI video generation. They could have something that looks as good as anything coming out of Hollywood in the next few years.
Yeah, Paul Schrader, the director and writer for Taxi Driver, Academy Award winner, had this to say. He said, "Let me make a very unpopular prediction. 1 year from now, photorealistic AI dramas will be running through film school bodies like diuretics. Based on my brief AI experimentation, a savvy student will be able to create a 90-minute narrative in 2 to 3 weeks on zero budget, without leaving home, without anyone's permission. The originality of the story will determine the value of the product. Why go through the agonies of fundraising, collaborating, when all you need is a keyboard?" Darren Aronofsky is already in the game with Roger Avery hard behind. Then it's a simple matter of creating a platform, or will YouTube already be this place, to screen and monetize this new form of storytelling. Boom. Zero budget, 2 to 3 weeks. A student can do it in 2 to 3 weeks with no budget in his bedroom. You don't have to pay rent.
And I'm excited about all the stories that never would have been told otherwise, that are now going to be able to be told in a way that is worthy of the story. Like, it's not going to be cheap, and the audio's not going to suck, and the video quality's not going to suck. And look, the playing field is being leveled, like I said before, man. I mean, nobody's going to the theater anymore. Hollywood does not control the global box office sales anymore. They used to control 90% of it. They're down to 60. They're about to go down to 50 in the next 5 years, maybe less, depending on, what direction they go with the kind of movies they're making. If they continue making the kind of movies they're making now, they're going to tank worse than 50% in 5 years, because nobody wants to see the crap that they're putting out.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me kind of like the anime stuff that happened so many years ago, that just like all of a sudden somebody tell you got to see this, and you go watch it, and you're like, wow, that was incredible. A different the genre, it was just very different, and this will be like that, but it'll look so realistic, but yet we'll all know it's AI. You go into the theater understanding that like one dude is making all the money from this thing that, before it took 1,000 people to make it,
Well,
when
even
you think of
without
caterers and
even without
valets.
It's happening, dude. That guy, the YouTube influencer that's a gamer, he made his own movie called Iron Lung, and he self-financed it himself. I think it cost $5 million, which, if you're a YouTube influencer and you're a big YouTube influencer, that's not a lot of money. And in terms of a Hollywood movie, that's a low-budget film, and it was trending at the number 1 and 2 spot for at least a couple of weeks. He made like 10 times his money right off the bat. And with global sales and Blu-ray and streaming, he's going to make a lot more than probably 50. He might make $100 million off that $5 million investment. He even starred in the movie himself, and it was all one set. Because it's the story that matters at the end of the day. The story.
Yeah, it is. It's so true. It's the story. And if you're relying on AI to just sort of spit out a good story for you, I don't know, you're probably SOL. But if you can come up with beautiful, amazing stories that are compelling, then you can use these other features to help create this thing in such a way that, Hollywood would be next to impossible to do.
Yeah.
So
I think AI is better at brainstorming, right? Don't you think AI is better just at brainstorming? Don't use it as the idea. Just use it to help you brainstorm that you can bounce off of. Most Hollywood films have a whole crew where they bounce ideas off each other. Well, now you can use AI as that assistant to help you, but let it be your idea. Just, let it get your brain thinking so that, you can feed off of it, but don't take its idea and just feed it out there. Because like you said, it'll be junk, man. It'll be, what do they call it? AI slop.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, in the limited amount of time we have left, Senate Bill 26097 in the great state of Colorado. If that passes, Senate Bill 26097, prostitution will be 100% legal in the entire state of Colorado. And that includes prostitution, solicitation, patronizing a prostitute, keeping a place of prostitution, pandering related to arranging prostitution. Okay, so, in other words, you can, in some places in Maine, it's legal to be a prostitute, but it's illegal to solicit one, right? In Nevada, it's legal in certain counties and certain, in free-arranged places. But this is just going to make it straight up legal across the entire state of Colorado. Pretty big move if this passes, and Colorado's so far to the left that I think it will. I think it will. They all talk about how, we're criminalizing people, endangering them, and yada, yada. It's just sex work. And okay, well, guess what? It's probably going to be legal in Colorado. So your next ski trip might be a little more interesting. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just wondering how healthy that's going to be for marriages.
Yeah, for a lot of things, It's not for everybody, that's for sure. But, some people make it work. I'll give them credit for it, but it's not for everybody. Are
they going to be able to just walk down the street and solicit people, though? I mean, is that what's in the bill? Yeah, I think that's...
You could walk up to somebody who's just minding their own business, and you could say, hey, I'd like to pay you $1,000 to go have sex with you. Are you down? You're beautiful. And if she says yes, you're both good to go. And if she says, I'm a cop, you say, okay, sorry to bother you. I'll be on my way, knowing that you've not broken any law.
But I'm saying the prostitutes can stroll up and down the street soliciting people for sex. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
So you're bringing your family, somewhere, maybe a tourist area, and your wife and the kids slip into some store, and then you're being solicited, and you set up this is not going to be well. It's not going to go well for for morals and ethics and family and marriage, and I don't see it going good.
How will the ski towns handle it? I mean, that's where all the tourists are. That's where all the money's going to be. That's where you're going to get your tricks, so to speak. All the group of guys coming in to go skiing for a weekend or something, and boom, that's your target audience. So how do they handle it in a small town like a Telluride or Crested Butte or Aspen, when you've now got all these prostitutes hanging around in bars and it's totally legal? You can't kick them out if they're buying a drink. They'll go to the sheriff and say, hey, man, I got kicked out of here for prostitution.
Yeah. It's the dichotomy that you've talked about, I've talked about, Yotivation talked about, the left, right, freedom, slavery, good, evil, corruption, integrity. I mean, it's becoming much more prominent, right? And those that are on the dark side are going to take it as far as they possibly can. And let's not forget, the globalist put out that document. I don't remember what it was called, but essentially anybody could consent to sex no matter what their age was. So that means 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, because they didn't put an age on it. They just said any age. That's not good. And, how far do they take this madness? They just keep pushing it further and further and further.
Yeah. It goes further here. In Oregon, there is a petition that's going around that if, they get enough signatures and it'll go to the ballot, if it gets 50%, they're saying it probably won't. But they want to make it illegal to fish and hunt and hurt animals really in any way. And so you wouldn't be able to do any wildlife management. You couldn't even trap pests and vermin. And they're trying to outlaw the ability to kill or injure an animal for any reason other than self-defense. So this would, include cattle, chickens.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah. It was trending on X today where they were showing, actual videos of pigs being shocked to death or shocked so that they could be slaughtered, so they were basically unconscious and they wouldn't feel it. It was a humane way to basically kill them. And they were all complaining. Almost 90% of all the comments were, oh, how sad, oh, how terrible. It's so mean. I'm like, the pig feels nothing. It's what we eat. The majority of us eat meat.
Mhm.
We're meat eaters, carnivores.
Yeah.
It's insane, folks.
Like, have you been to a grocery store? Do you know where the meat department, you know where that comes from? Like, has it ever put 2 and 2 together in your head about this? That's kind of wild.
Well, if it bothers you that much, go adopt a pig and have a pig as a pet. Because some people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Pigs are wonderful animals, but they're also good food.
They're wonderful food.
Especially bacon.
I love bacon.
In everything. On ice cream.
Yeah. It's actually phenomenal in ice cream. But let's see here today. Mir Mamdani has been complaining that he's facing this massive gap, right? Billions of dollars he's got to make up for. $127 billion is his economy. $127 billion for New York City. The entire state of Florida is $117 billion. So, of course, Ron DeSantis came out and he's like, Florida, 23 plus million people. New York City, 8 million people. So for 8 million people, they're spending $127 billion. In Florida, for 23 million people, they're spending $117 billion and doing just fine. Doing just fine. Thank you very much. It's shocking. It's shocking. And cutting any spending is just never going to happen. So what's he going to do? He's going to go after the only thing he can, property taxes.
Yep.
And they're already starting to freak out. People are going to get evicted. They're going to lose their homes and yada, yada, because they won't be able to pay the new higher property taxes. What's that going to do to make housing cheaper? Nothing. The exact opposite. So they're in for a wild ride in New York City. A wild ride. I can't wait to watch it.
It has to happen because it's that dichotomy. People have to see what's really happening, and they got to see who's good and who's bad and who represents them and who doesn't represent them. It's all happening the way it should be. It's brutal. It's tough. It's hard to watch. It's hard to witness, but it has to happen because so many people are in a comatose. They have not all awakened yet.
Yeah. And they're going to wake up fast. I mean, many people that supported him and campaigned for him are already losing, interest and walking off the bandwagon, right? And why is Florida so fascist? They ask in this article. Why is Florida so fascist? Yeah, they let you keep what you make down there, folks, and you don't need to get anything off the government because there's a million jobs to be had. Just go knock on a couple doors and bam, you got a job in an hour. So, New York, good luck. You voted for this, and I hate to see it happen to a city I love, but man, I'm just going to make popcorn and watch it burn. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure they voted for him, but, there were definitely some that did, but did he really win? I mean, or is this another election still? And I know that may sound crazy to some people, but these people are not honest. And Trump said it's getting ready to all come out. We have everything. We've got this stuff about Georgia. Now they're looking at Arizona. He's going to bring forth all of this stuff. So please give Trump some time, okay? It takes time to do these kinds of things. And then it takes time to get indictments. You have to dot all your I's, cross all your T's. This isn't just going to happen overnight. All that other stuff with Comey and stuff, those weren't really very concrete indictments. So, of course, they're not going to stick. But that doesn't mean that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. Just give Trump some time, folks. That's all I'm saying. You can certainly complain. That's fair enough. But don't go over the edge and say it's over and Trump has betrayed us when it's way too early to say that. I mean, much too early to say that. With all kinds of good things still happening. You literally have to be completely blind to all the good stuff he's doing. You have to put on blinders, like a David Icke or a Mike Adams or a Stu Peters, and it's all doom and gloom.
That's right, Barry. You go. Go, man, go.
I'm committed to walking this thing out with Trump. I'm not going to support him when he does bad, okay? I'm not going to do that. But I believe in him. It's my job to put some confidence in the guy. Okay, it doesn't mean I can't criticize him. I do. You know, like a lot of people were accusing me of defending Steve Bannon. No, I didn't say anything about Steve Bannon because I didn't have the details. Now that I have the details, I've written an article about it and exposed some of the things that look kind of sketchy between Bannon and Epstein. I'm not hiding anything. I'm a red pill. That means I'm realistic, based in the data, based in the facts, using discernment.
Yep. And I'll tell you, it's fascinating to watch all this stuff. If you think Trump is not doing what he can, you got to trust the man. He almost died for us, man. He came within a millimeter of dying in front of the entire world. And then another time, somebody else tried to kill him, and he fought off all these legal cases to miraculously come out ahead and win all this. And he's got a plan. I say we give him a little time. We trust the plan. Let it play out. And let's see where we are. But, folks, we are out of time. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. Thank you all so much for listening. Wouldn't be here without our audience. So thank you guys so much. You're the best audience in the world. We got to go. Stay tuned, though, for more from Dragus Productions right after this.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. If you missed any of tonight's show, you can find it and others in our archives. Thanks again, and you can catch us next week for another brand new show.